this year we are not sat around a computer like we normally are, which is quite nice because it means you don't have to sit on my knee, Richard, if we can't quite get the video in. I'm with Richard from the founder of the Sales Geek.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Sales Geek, yeah. Started the business 3 years ago, nearly 3 years ago.
Okay. And you are still a micro business. You have got less than 9 employees.
Yes, just. Although we are currently recruiting, so probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks we will step out of our little micro business category that we've been in for the last couple of years and into the world of small businesses, I guess.
Oh my goodness, and then you can have up to 250 employees in a small business.
I'm not sure I want I love the guys we've got to death, but yeah, having 200 people in the business.
Well, Anthony talked about that, about scaling, and I do think that employing staff, and Kirsty's just discussed that with in the interview I've just done with them. She's taken on her first member of staff. And I think that one is always the hardest step because you've suddenly got to then take on the responsibility for somebody else. And even more so when you employ that number. Tell us about Sales Geek. What do you do?
So we do a couple of different things really, but fundamentally, I guess our mission, as it were, is we want to change the way the world perceives sales. We'd like to play our part in creating a world where sales is no longer a dirty word. It is for a lot of people. We think that's a real shame because actually done well, it can be fantastic. It's about providing service, it's about solving people's problems. So we at the minute we apply that through 3 means really. So we train salespeople in companies, either through our open courses or we go in and deliver bespoke training. We also work as a part-time, we offer a part-time sales director service to small businesses that really need a sales director and can't afford one. So we step in for as little as a few hours a month to help them and add that competency to their little mini top table in their own business. And then we're just about to launch our digital platform, which will give, for the first time, proper access for sales training for individuals, not just companies, because generally companies buy sales training, not people, but this is an app-based service that individuals can subscribe to.
So a micro business owner with your new service will be able to actually subscribe to that. One of the things I deliver is Self-Employment Right For You workshop. Which puts a number of people off before they've even started, but that's the idea. One of the things that I talk about is that you can buy in certain services. You can't buy motivation, you can't buy passion, but you can buy sales services, you can buy admin services, finance services. But obviously that's quite prohibitive for some people because especially if they're just starting out, they can't afford it, so they start to worry, but they're not maybe very good at selling or they don't perceive themselves to be very good at selling. So your new app will allow them to do some training remotely, I presume?
Yeah, so it's app-based, everything's short form, on-demand content, so it's like a little sort of mini Netflix almost. They can go through, pick by topics what they want to learn about and what, based on the challenges they might be having at a time. We're pricing that at $11.99 a month, so it's as accessible as you're ever going to get for sales training and the support you need. But the really important thing for us with the hub, particularly the online platform, is that yes, there's training, but there's also a community element to that as well. So all of our users is part of our global sales community as well. So it's not just about learning from us, it's about learning from each other as well and getting support from other people that are in the same position that they're in. Because you absolutely bang on what you say, that the paradox in the business advice space is that the people who need your help the most are the ones that can afford it the least. And yet a lot of people in the business advice space when they start out on their own and get self-employed, they leave their job and they either selling sales advice or marketing advice, whatever. A lot of people will use whatever success they have to justify charging more and working with bigger clients, therefore leaving behind the very people who are where they were when they started on their journey. And we've probably almost tried to go the other way. So over the last 3 years for that almost, but we've had a lot of products that have all been about making it more accessible because certainly sales training is expensive, there's no two ways about it, and for a lot of people it's a privilege rather than a right, and actually basic skills of being able to talk to people about what you do and how you solve their problems. For me, it should be in the academic processes, let alone freely available and cheaply available through private sector. But we teach people to do things, but not how to talk to other human beings about it, and it fascinates me, to be honest. So we just want to make it more accessible for people.
And I think the price bracket is really important because I have 3 businesses per se. Microbiz Matters is one. although it's not a business as such, but it's something that Tony and I have dedicated our lives to, rightly or wrongly. But I also have a business called The Tiny Troubleshooter, so I work with micro business owners to help them solve a problem, whatever that problem might be. It might be doing social media for them, it might be remotely coaching them, really just to make them answerable.
Yes.
But I do that at a rate that is affordable to them. You know, I charge £20 an hour for a remote 1 hour session on Zoom, and that is, people say to me, oh, well, that's really reasonable. Yeah, because I know that micro business owner actually can't afford quite often, but they need to have that service. It's like your £11.99. They need to have that service. And let's bear in mind that 5.6 million business owners in the UK are micro businesses. They make up 95% of the business population. So it is really important that we cater for them in this country 100%. And understand that. And we were talking about some of this yesterday coming over in the car, but I think the problem is people need to understand not only what they perceive as their value, because I believe that my value is far greater than what I charge, but my customer base is micro businesses.
I agree.
And I think the fact that you're creating, so because again, the other issue with a micro business owner is they do feel very alone very often.
Yeah.
And if they know that there's 1,000 other people that are in the hub that are also like training to do some sales stuff, they're suddenly thinking, oh, crikey, I can maybe do this then, and it's going to work.
But it's interesting, obviously, we come from, I did, and a lot of the members of our team come from a sales background, and over a period of 10 or 12 years I've held a variety of different sales leadership roles in different companies, and actually the challenges that a lot of field-based salespeople have is very similar to the challenges that a small micro business owner has, which is around access to the things that they need but can't afford, but also it is that loneliness thing, and with loneliness brings about sometimes some mental health challenges, which we see as an issue in sales. I think it is an issue in a lot of small and micro business owners, because there's an insane amount of pressure, and you never know whether you're doing the right or wrong thing. There's not many people there to pat you on the back and tell you you're doing well done, but there's a lot of signs that will tell you when you're doing bad, and it's a really hard place to be and exist on your own. And so it's the same for us with sales professionals as it is with a lot of the small business owners we work with. We're often the only other person in their sphere that they can lean on and help. And I guess part of the reason why we started the business, and I stepped out of at the end of my career, quite a big sort of job, a corporate job, was that connection with human beings. And I think when we put the word business in front of things, we forget that that person's a human, and they have a spouse at home, they might have children, they've got a mortgage to pay, there's their own welfare, and actually by impacting micro businesses, the actual human impact of that is massive. And I know for us that's a big driver. It's in our values that we care, and which is why we want to make what we do more accessible for more people, because it's hard. There's no two ways about it, it's hard.
And that's why Tony and I don't know if you're in right at the beginning today, but that's why Tony and I co-founded Enterprise Rockers, that's then evolved into the Microbiz Matters movement, because when we did that 8 years ago, people weren't talking about micro businesses like they are now. They just the words micro business weren't really being referenced, whereas now they're referenced all the time.
I agree.
And that's brilliant. That is really brilliant. But we wanted to make life better for micro business owners, and we wanted people to realise that they weren't on their own, and that there is this category. You are a business. Even as a freelancer, you are a business.
Yes.
And that's what's important. And then that's why we then went on to launch Microbiz Matters Day at the beginning of January, because it's a pretty grim time for a lot of people, but people needed to know that there were lots and lots of micro businesses, not just across the UK but across the world. We've got a guy who's doing stuff today and sharing stuff. Trip Braden, he's a great guy, and he's in the States. And that they've got the same issues in the States as we've got here. They've got slightly added issues as well. We don't need to go into politics, because I do try to avoid it at all costs. But yeah, I just think that it's so important that we understand and we work together and support the micro business owners. So, as we finish, what is the one bit of survive and thrive tip that you would give a micro business owner?
Oh, that's a great question. For me, I'll probably go back to the loneliness thing. Like, you're not on your own. Don't be scared to ask people for help, because probably more people are willing to help you than you think there are. Yeah. Certainly, I'm really grateful that we started our business in Lancashire. I'm not originally from around here. We moved up here a few years before we started the business, but certainly in Lancashire particularly, I've been absolutely blown away by the support that's there, by people willing you along. So if you do feel like you're in it on your own, you're not. You just need to pull more people into your sphere. So reach out, ask people for help, and they'll give it to you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's been fun. Thank you.
And good luck with the hub.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up.